Well, there you have it. I mean, I can apologize. I can admit when I'm wrong. Clearly, it was a joke. Tate would never actually scam people with a coin. Oh, turns out he did.
Hey, have you seen the news and the internet? They said this about you. Yeah. But I'm rich as fuck. Yeah, have you seen what this poor person said? Not really.
Andrew Tate's window is closing fast, and people are starting to see it clearly. The so-called top G doesn't carry that untouchable image anymore. Instead of looking in control, he comes off like someone trying to protect a brand that's slipping away. What once seemed sharp and calculated now feels shaky, like the image is breaking in real time. From controversial crypto deals to education platforms critics compare to pyramid-style systems, more people are beginning to question what's really going on. He's tried every move in the book to protect that alpha image, but the cracks aren't quiet anymore. They're loud and impossible to ignore. This doesn't feel like a comeback story. It feels like a slow countdown, and more people are catching on every day. Here's how it all built up. Andrew Tate first got attention as a kickboxer, then switched lanes and turned himself into an online personality. His brand was all about flashy wealth, extreme masculinity, and selling the idea that anyone could live like him if they paid for the formula. And that formula usually came through a $50 course that promised access to his mindset and success secrets. His empire grew off the belief that he had escaped the system completely. Supercars, private jets, luxury homes. Everything was shown as proof that he beat the game and unlocked some hidden code that others couldn't see. But everything changed in December 2022, when Tate was arrested in Romania over serious allegations, including human trafficking and exploitation. He stayed in detention for over 90 days before being moved to house arrest in April 2023. That situation dragged on for months, and by August 2023, he was released under strict conditions, including not being allowed to leave Romania. Even while investigations continued, things didn't slow down. In August 2024, he was placed under house arrest again as the case expanded and pressure kept building. At the same time, things were heating up in the UK. Authorities issued arrest warrants for both him and his brother over separate allegations. Now the pressure wasn't just coming from one place, it was hitting from multiple directions at once. The situation was tightening fast, whether he admitted it or not. But online? You wouldn't think anything had changed. Tate kept pushing out business moves like everything was perfectly normal. In an earlier breakdown, Coffeezilla's investigation and the crypto activity linked to his name already raised eyebrows. And this is where it gets even crazier. Despite openly criticizing crypto before, he kept appearing around questionable coin promotions, leaving people wondering what was really going on behind the scenes.
Launch a crypto coin. So I immediately pointed out that over a year ago, Tate said that he didn't need to rob his fans. He wasn't going to launch a coin. Tate replied, "Imagine being such a great detective you can't detect a joke." Now, I'll admit that one stung a little bit. And when I did some research, I realized I had been tricked.
Are you going to launch your own crypto?
No, I'm never gonna launch a crypto. I just like to with crypto Twitter. Because crypto Twitter are full of the biggest degenerate losers on the planet. They're losers. Crypto is the only scenario I can think of where you can make a whole bunch of money while benefiting society zero.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I can apologize. I can admit when I'm wrong. Clearly, it was a joke. Tate would never actually scam people with a coin. Oh, turns out he did.
A lot of those tokens followed a pattern people couldn't ignore. Heavy hype, loud promises, massive attention, and then sudden drops that left people stuck holding losses. At first, some brushed it off as coincidence, but after seeing it happen again and again, it looked like a repeated cycle that raised serious questions. Then came the real world. Tate introduced it as a Discord-style community with a $49 monthly fee, marketing it as the ultimate shortcut to financial freedom, according to him. This was the one real way to escape the matrix and level up your entire life. But here's where it gets strange. Even though he previously showed doubt about crypto, this platform launched its own token too. Members were encouraged to buy in, with talk about huge returns and exclusive opportunities waiting inside. But once you move past the flashy branding and big promises, the structure becomes very familiar. People paying monthly, being pushed to bring in others, and the system depending on constant new signups to keep growing. It feels less like innovation and more like a setup built on recruitment. In simple terms, something that looks a lot like a pyramid-shaped model.
New plan is that you buy a get-rich-quick course, gain power points, you have to stay subscribed to keep your power points, and then they say they will pay you a percentage that their school makes.
The goal is that you can buy the token and own a percentage of the school. So imagine you sign up for the real world, you start to make money, you focus on your tasks, then you can invest that money in the real world token and get paid every single month a monthly dividend from the profits of the school.
All right, I think I get it. So you got the people at the bottom, they're paying up into the course, into the school. Then you got the people higher with higher power levels. They're making money from people at the bottom with the coin. And then all that money flows up. It's just kind of this nice little...
Fast forward to late November 2024, and everything exploded. On November 25th, the platform got hit with a major hack, and the fallout was massive. Chat logs from over 800,000 users were exposed, along with around 325,000 email addresses reportedly leaking out into the open. And here's the shocking part. This wasn't some advanced, high-level cyber attack. The group behind it claimed the platform's security was extremely weak, which sparked a viral reaction online. One comment even pointed out that Tate's site being that insecure was on brand. And Tate? He responded exactly how many expected. He brushed it off on Twitter like it wasn't serious, even mocking the situation and claiming it wasn't really a hack, saying people had simply paid to access chats anyway. Then he quickly shifted the focus to money, flexing numbers and doing live calculations. 800,000 members times $49 a month, presenting it as clear proof of success and dominance. But here's what didn't get highlighted. This wasn't just public chats being exposed. Private servers, direct messages, and personal conversations were all part of the leak too. That means sensitive data was suddenly out in the open, creating a risky situation for a huge number of people. Scammers now had access to a massive group already interested in making money online. A perfect target.
You come to these realizations. It's the best feeling in the world when you sit in jail and you get told that all your hope is dying.
Many users were involved in crypto, making them even more vulnerable to phishing attempts and fake token projects. Others had shared deeper personal information in private channels, emails, financial discussions, even business plans, all now circulating beyond their control. For critics, this wasn't just a bad moment. It was a complete disaster. But once again, Tate flipped the narrative. Instead of directly addressing the security concerns, he leaned into the scale of the platform, pushing the idea that it was too big to fail. And that's where things start to feel awkward. If the platform is really generating tens of millions every single month from loyal members, why keep pushing new tokens so aggressively every few weeks? That question hits hard. Why promote risky crypto projects if you're already claiming to run a massive, successful education empire? That exact point exploded in a viral reply. Under his post, someone wrote, "You are making $40 million a month from subscriptions and still need to rug 5 new coins a week." That line hits hard because it cuts straight through the image he's been building. At some point, it stops looking like smart business and starts looking like panic. Now stack that on top of everything else going on: legal pressure, international warrants, and major security failures, and the whole story shifts fast. This no longer looks like an untouchable figure running the game. It now looks like someone trying to squeeze every last bit of influence before the walls close in. And if the past year has shown anything, it's this. The empire Tate presents online might not be as solid as it looks. While he brushed off the chaos from the data breach like it didn't matter, reality didn't stay quiet for long. Just weeks later, on December 18th, a London court ordered the seizure of over £2 million from him over unpaid taxes. This wasn't internet drama you could laugh off. This hit directly at his money, and the reaction came fast. Instead of calmly addressing the ruling, he went right back to his usual narrative, blaming the Matrix. He posted that first. They labeled him a human trafficker, but couldn't produce a single woman to testify against him.
There isn't a female on this planet who isn't currently begging to have sex with me. Not one. Your wife, your sister, all of them. Begging. Begging to be f***ed by me. Begging.
Then he claimed that when that didn't work, they froze his accounts for years, and now, in his words, they were taking his money outright. He framed the entire situation as a coordinated attack against anyone who challenges the system. The message was loud: speak out and they'll destroy your name, push back and they'll come for your freedom and your finances too. To his supporters, it sounded like proof he was being targeted. To others, it came across as deflection from the actual issues. Still, something unexpected happened, and it caught a lot of people off guard. For the first time in nearly 2 years, things shifted slightly in favor of the Tate brothers. On January 14, 2025, a Romanian court lifted their house arrest. That meant they were no longer confined to their property, which was a major change after months of strict limits. But let's keep it real. This wasn't full freedom. They still weren't allowed to leave Romania under any circumstances. Even so, after being locked down for so long, being able to move around likely felt like a big moment. That moment didn't last long, though. On February 10th, a new lawsuit surfaced, bringing fresh accusations and putting them right back under pressure again. An American woman claimed the brothers lured her to Romania using false promises connected to adult work. With everything already hanging over them, this could have made their situation even worse, possibly pushing them back into strict confinement. But that's not how things played out. In a twist that caught a lot of people off guard, Romanian authorities made a completely different move. On February 27th, both Andrew and Tristan were suddenly given permission to travel internationally. After years of tight restrictions, they were now allowed to leave the country, and they didn't hesitate for a second. The brothers quickly flew out to the United States, and that move instantly sparked a wave of speculation online.
Donald Trump helped get the travel ban lifted?
Some people assumed this meant the trafficking cases had been dropped completely, but that wasn't true at all. The investigations were still active, which is where things feel unusual. Why keep them under strict control for so long, only to suddenly allow international travel? What changed behind the scenes? The timing alone had people seriously questioning what was really going on. Their release came right after Donald Trump's inauguration, and that timing immediately got people talking. Within minutes of being back in the Oval Office, Trump was already signing executive orders, including controversial pardons tied to January 6th defendants. Not long after that, rumors started spreading fast. Some claimed his administration may have pressured Romanian officials to loosen restrictions on the Tate brothers. Officially, nothing was confirmed. No statements, no clear answers, just silence. But the theory didn't come from nowhere. By that point, Andrew and Tristan had been very vocal about their support for Trump. They echoed his messaging online, went after his critics, and made their alignment hard to ignore. Andrew even posted a tweet mocking Denmark's prime minister while backing Trump's idea of acquiring Greenland, warning they didn't want problems with him. So when people started suggesting there might have been quiet influence happening behind the scenes, it didn't sound completely far-fetched to many watching the situation unfold. Still, when Trump was asked directly about it, he shut it down fast and said he didn't know anything about them.
President Trump, Andrew and Tristan Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so,
I know nothing about that. I don't know.
Even with that clear denial, the speculation didn't slow down at all. Some supporters stayed convinced that favors had been handled privately, political or otherwise. Meanwhile, Andrew looked more than ready to leave Romania behind and start fresh. He talked about wanting to stay in the United States long-term and seemed fully energized by the move. But here's the twist. What he likely didn't expect was that certain people in the US were just as interested in him staying, just not for the reasons he might have hoped. The Tate brothers headed straight to Florida, and on paper, it probably seemed like the perfect move. A Republican stronghold, a place where they expected a more supportive political climate. But this is where everything started going off track. Florida's governor made it clear almost immediately there was no warm welcome waiting for them. No quiet acceptance, no turning a blind eye. Whether it was political positioning or something more serious, the message landed hard. They were not welcome.
Welcome here, what to say, send back to Romania or whatever.
Well, we have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media, but the reality is, no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air.
Andrew and Tristan may have assumed the backlash would stay surface level, just a quick statement for appearances before things cooled off. But that assumption didn't hold up for long. Florida authorities didn't just talk, they took action. An investigation was opened into the brothers, and the state's attorney general, James Meyer, spoke out publicly. He made it clear that his office would be reviewing their activities and would act if necessary.
On public, joking around saying, oh, what is the age of consent in America? 15, 16, 17, oh, we can't remember. That's absurd. That is horrific. And anybody that's going to defend, that practice is on the wrong side of me, that's for sure.
That's not just noise. That's real pressure building in real time. Suddenly, the United States didn't look like a safe escape anymore. Instead of leaving problems behind, they may have walked straight into a new version of the same situation. Now, when you stack everything together, the picture looks a lot more intense. Ongoing investigations in Romania, legal pressure in the UK, money being seized in London, and now official scrutiny in Florida.
Guys have themselves publicly admitted to participating in what very much appears to be soliciting, trafficking, preying upon women around the world. Many of these victims coming forward, some of them minors, people can spin or defend however they want, but in Florida, this type of behavior is viewed as atrocious. We're not going to accept it. They chose to come here and set their feet down in this state, and we're going to pursue every tool we have within our legal authority to hold them accountable.
When you stack it all together, the picture shifts again, and it's hard to ignore what's happening. This doesn't look like someone in control of the system anymore. It looks like someone dealing with legal issues across multiple countries at the same time. And the more he pushes the idea that he's being targeted by the Matrix, the more it looks like something else entirely, consequences catching up. You can imagine how that hit. After finally getting out of Romania, Andrew seemed convinced he had reached safe ground in the United States. In his mind, the worst was behind him. But instead, he walked straight into another storm. And just like before, he tried to flip the narrative. Tate claimed the Florida investigation wasn't really about the allegations. According to him, it was political. He suggested Governor Ron DeSantis wasn't targeting him for legal reasons, but because Andrew had shown support for a different political figure instead of backing DeSantis. He even pushed the idea that his influence was so massive that it made him a threat, that the system was moving against him to stop him from interfering with bigger plans. Andrew started presenting himself as a political power player, almost like a kingmaker, saying his endorsement alone could shift elections and change outcomes. Then, he took it even further, calling the DeSantis administration communist and boldly declaring that the game is on. But here's where things didn't go the way he expected. Byron Donalds, the same politician Andrew hinted he supported, came out and publicly backed the Florida Attorney General's decision to investigate the Tate brothers. That move completely undercut the narrative he was trying to build and shifted the spotlight right back onto the investigation itself.
Support the Attorney General's actions here.
I do. I think those allegations have to be fully investigated, and then we go from there. The key thing is we don't tolerate the trafficking of women or, frankly, the abuse of women. We do not tolerate.
It started to feel like his strategy was simple. Talk louder, sound more confident, and hope that shifts public perception or pressures officials. But instead of helping, those interviews did the exact opposite. The more he spoke, the more it turned into self-inflicted damage.
I've done since I've arrived. I did Patrick Bet David and sat on my laptop. That's all I've done. I've done Patrick Bet David, I sat on my laptop and I had Taco Bell, and I've got a criminal investigation?
Yeah.
Where the it doesn't even make any sense.
At one point, he compared his own situation to Jeffrey Epstein, and that instantly raised eyebrows.
I don't know Diddy, never spoken to him. I'm not defending him. What I'm saying is, they've decided to wreck him. I don't know his side of the story. He may be guilty. His side of the story might be, yeah, I did it, but so did this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I'm only asking, why only him? I said, T, they're about to get Diddy. He said, why? I said, they've released a video that is 10 years old. They've been sitting on this for 10 long years. This was 2016 they got the footage. Why has no one seen it? And Tristan goes, that's out now? I was like, yep. 2 weeks later, arrested. They set up the public perception before the arrest. And I know how this works, so I saw it and called it. This came out of nowhere. This was stored somewhere in the Matrix archives. When they decided to take him down, first thing you do is slander him, just like they did to
people. Weren't expecting that kind of comparison, and it didn't land well at all. In another moment, he talked about understanding how someone like P. Diddy could end up in controversial situations. But one of the most shocking claims came out of nowhere. He confidently said authorities could never build a case against him because he wipes his phone every single night.
I'm a Navy SEAL in this fucking come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me, let's do this all over again. I've done it for 4 years in Romania. You think I'm scared of your state jail after an Eastern European gulag? I'm staying right here.
That statement alone had people seriously questioning his judgment. It didn't sound strategic, it sounded reckless. At the same time, Florida's investigation pushed online communities to dig deeper into Tate's past, and what resurfaced only made things more intense. In early March, an old video began circulating again, showing Andrew in a situation involving aggressive behavior toward a woman during what was described as a private encounter. The footage sparked heavy backlash on its own. Then reports added another layer, claiming the woman may have been underage at the time. That detail raised serious concerns and made the situation far more sensitive. Tate responded by releasing a statement from the woman, Vivian, saying the interaction had been consensual. But that explanation quickly started falling apart.
I'm pretty sure many of you have seen a video of Andrew Tate beating up a woman, and I'm pretty sure not so many of you have seen the same woman coming forward with a statement saying it was nothing but a play. So here I am again for the second time. Yes, the woman he has beaten up, and the same woman who has made a statement is me. So I'm coming forward for the second time to just clarify and let everybody know it was nothing but a play.
First, if she had been underage at the time, then legal consent wouldn't even apply in that situation. Second, leaked messages allegedly showed Tate telling his team to contact her and guide what she should say publicly. That detail alone raised major questions about credibility and control.
I have a girl who wants to get married to have my kid. And if I was Andrew, she'd fuck him.
On top of that, older clips resurfaced where he openly described manipulation tactics, explaining how he persuaded women into adult work and how he maintained control over them.
PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me.
Those clips added even more weight to the growing criticism. By this point, things were clearly slipping out of his hands. The narrative wasn't something he could control anymore. No number of podcast appearances, distractions, or Matrix explanations were going to make the Florida investigation disappear. So once again, Andrew Tate made another move. He left and returned to Romania, saying it was to prove his innocence.
Romania, like I said I'd be, because innocent men don't run from anything. We're here to clear our names and exonerate ourselves.
But by then, the pressure was already at a whole different level. But the more straightforward explanation is hard to ignore. Staying in the United States came with real risk, and leaving reduced the chances of being detained. Even after his departure, the situation didn't cool off. Florida officials didn't back down at all.
To the best of my knowledge, the Tate brothers are not in Florida right now. The investigation is still ongoing, but at the end of the day, if you're here and you're a criminal, if you're going to engage in activities that go after women, that go after our kids, we're gonna come after you.
They made it clear the investigation was still active and moving forward. And now, the pressure is starting to show in a different way. You can see it in his legal strategy. While all of this was unfolding, Andrew and Tristan Tate filed a defamation lawsuit against 15 Twitter users who had criticized them, demanding at least $50,000 from each one. At first glance, it might look like a move to defend their reputation, but when you look closer, it feels more like a warning shot. It comes across as a way to apply pressure and make critics think twice before speaking out.
I'll say this right here, right now. I don't need a reason. You're gonna have to defend yourself, regardless. That's the thing about the American legal system. You cannot ignore it. I don't care if it costs me $1 million to take $1,000 out of your bank. You're gonna be in court twice a month for the rest of your human years. I don't care. I will sue you for any and every reason forever. And you're gonna have to hire lawyers and turn up forever. I will do that. I'm that guy. I'm petty. I'm petty and I've got a lot of money and a lot of time.
Andrew has never hidden that he's willing to use money as leverage, and here, the strategy doesn't seem focused on winning in court. It looks more like an attempt to silence opposition. But here's the risky part. Defamation law doesn't run on confidence alone. To win, you actually have to prove that the statements made about you are false. And during the legal discovery process, the other side can request documents, messages, and evidence. That can open doors he might not want opened. In fact, one of the people being sued already pointed this out publicly, saying the case could allow them to subpoena records and prove their claims were accurate. That flips the whole situation into a serious gamble, and it's one that could easily backfire. Even if the lawsuit gets dropped later, the bigger picture hasn't changed. The UK still has an active arrest warrant for both brothers. The Romanian case is still ongoing. The Florida investigation hasn't gone anywhere, and public attention is only getting stronger at this stage. The space around him is getting tighter. There aren't many moves left that don't come with pressure attached. Some think Andrew could push further into politics, looking for support or some kind of protection. But based on how things have played out so far, that path doesn't look very solid either. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. This isn't a story that's slowing down. It's one that's building pressure in real time, and when it finally hits its peak, everything around it is going to change. If you've made it this far, you already see where this is going. So subscribe and stay locked in, because this situation isn't slowing down, and the next update could be even bigger.